My name is Yuka, and I'm 30 years old. I just recently left a designing company and started working as an independent graphic designer. I started working using my home as my office, but I've had some trouble lately. What was causing it, you ask? Well, damn, speak of the devil. No, it might be a delivery. I hope so. But the person I saw on the monitor wasn't a young delivery man with a package in his hands, but my mother-in-law delivering herself, which was a huge nuisance. The moment she found out I became independent, she took the liberty of coming to my house almost every day. I opened the door and let her in.
Ah, Yuka. I knew you would be lazing away at home today, too.
Ma'am, how many times do I have to tell you? I work from home.
It's not a great job to be able to do it at home, in any case. You were kicked out of the company, after all.
But I left on my own. I became independent when the time was right.
Don't act like you're showing off.
This is so not worth it.
Anyway, I found you another great job. Work here instead.
It was a job advertisement for a staff position at a luxury brand store. My mother-in-law absolutely adored fashion brands, so she must be expecting a friends and family discount. Not only does she find fault with her daughter-in-law's job, she dares to find me jobs that would benefit her. She really could not understand the nature of my situation, and try as I might, it was futile. I'm not unemployed, ma'am.
You might as well be unemployed at this point, darling. I'll be in the living room.
She sat on the sofa in the living room and turned on the TV.
At least bring out some tea and snacks. An attitude like that when your lovely mother-in-laws come is really unacceptable for a daughter-in-law.
I reluctantly brought out some tea and a snack. Here you are, ma'am.
Green tea and rice crackers? Could you not treat me like an old man?
Excuse me? This is all I have right now. Moreover, since you come over every day, why don't you bring something with you?
You're going to let your mother-in-law bring her own stuff? What a thoughtless wife you are.
And you are just too goddamn high maintenance. And so, Mrs. Nakamura started watching a Korean drama at full volume on MoniFlix. The volume was a bit annoying, but if I went back into my room and put in some earplugs, it'll be fine. She doesn't say anything to me while she's watching her favorite drama shows, so in a way, it helps, but no, whether it helps me or not is not the problem. I've tried using the pretend not to be home tactic once or twice, but she rang the doorbell so many times and I got a lot of phone calls. She bangs on the door so hard that it's a nuisance to the neighbors, and so I let her in because it's easier for everyone and it helps me get my work done, but the stress is unbearable. I'm at my damn limit. I'll discuss it again when Yoshiki gets home today. Then, 3 hours later, Mrs. Nakamura comes knocking loudly on my door.
Hey, aren't you subscribed to MoniFlix Plus?
No, I'm not, ma'am.
Then you subscribe right now. The next Korean drama that I want to see can only be seen if I have Plus. I was so embarrassed the other day because I was the only one who couldn't join in on a conversation between the housewives.
The other day, you said you wanted to join MoniFlix, and so I did you a favor, and now you want MoniFlix Plus?
So what? You guys should just watch some things on there too.
We don't have the time to watch movies that much anyway, and when we want to watch it, we rent them. It's more cost-effective that way.
Cost-effective, schmost-effective, I don't care. I want to watch it.
Then how about you pay for it?
Why do I have to pay for things in your house? Are you going to watch it for free?
Nah, woman. That's literally you right now.
And it won't cost you any more than 1,000 yen a month. How much do you think I gave you for your wedding?
I was given 300,000 yen for my wedding 2 years ago. Well, to tell you the truth, it was all my father-in-law's unilateral decision, and his wife, who found out about that later on, demanded me to give back the money. Well then, it will take a few days to finish the application, so by next time, it'll be done.
Counting on you.
Of course, if I applied now, she could watch the drama right away, but I told her a little lie and decided to have her go home today.
Well then, time to go shopping.
Eh?
We're going to buy ingredients for dinner. Making dinner for her husband is a housewife's job, right?
No, ma'am, I'm still working.
And if we don't go right now, there won't be any food on the table for when Yoshiki comes home. Now will there? You are his wife, are you not?
But we're a working married couple, and Yoshiki's fully aware of that. We cook together, in any case.
It's unthinkable for a husband to stand in the kitchen. A wife should make her husband's meals. Anyway, let's go. Hurry up.
I could only sigh loudly, but I knew that the only way to calm down this tyrannical beauty queen here was to go to the supermarket. The work I had could be postponed until the next day anyway, so I gave up on today's work and walked with her to a nearby supermarket. And then she went and put one basket on the top and bottom of the cart and packed it chock-a-block with various ingredients. Okay, she's definitely going to send a lot of these back to her home.
Oh, this chocolate looks delicious. And these cookies look so good too.
She stuffed both baskets full of products and headed to the cash register.
Take care of this.
What? What do you mean, take care of this?
I didn't bring my wallet.
I could actually commit manslaughter right now.
And all of these are for stocking up at your place. Rice crackers just don't cut it.
No, this is too much. The supermarket was always crowded in the evenings, and there was a line at the cash register. The stares from the customers around me were painful. In the end, 30,000 yen evaporated just for my mother-in-law's shopping spree. I carried the heavy luggage back home and arrived after dark. I was prepared to take it all to her house by car instead of mine, but she came back to my place again. You'll have to go home soon, ma'am. Otherwise, you won't be able to make dinner for your husband, right?
Don't worry about that. Instead, I'll do a favor and have a look at your skills. It's my duty as a mother-in-law to train the wife of the family.
And then she requested me to make a meat and potato stew. I mean, I love meat and potato stew too, so it should be fine, but I was certain she would complain about something.
If you add that much soy sauce, it'll be too strong.
Speak of the god-awful devil. Despite being chastised by Mrs. Nakamura, I somehow managed to finish up the meat and potato stew and a salad.
Well then, I'll take this.
What do you mean, you'll take this?
This is for our family to eat. You review what you learned today and make it again. See you later.
She packed the meat and potato stew and salad into a few large Tupperware containers that she'd prepared unbeknownst to me and went on home. That goddamn banshee! This was the most intense experience I've ever had. I didn't have the energy to cook again, so today I made do with instant curry that can be easily made in the microwave. After a while, Yoshiki came home.
I'm home. Oh, smells like meat and potato stew. Did she make some for dinner tonight?
Welcome home. The meat and potato stew has become instant curry, honey.
What do you mean?
I told Yoshiki about today.
Mom again? Damn it, man. I'm so sorry, Yuka. I harshly warned her about a week ago.
I'd be in trouble if she did this anymore. I'm not progressing with my work at all.
I wish we could move away right now, but it will take at least 2 months. Anyway, I'll talk to Dad about the situation.
Yoshiki's father could be deemed the polar opposite of his mother in personality. He is the kindest soul on the planet and always cares about us as a couple. He's 56 years old, but he still works hard as a salesman for a trading company. Truly, a man worthy of so much respect. Yoshiki put the phone on speaker and called his father. We didn't get through the first time, but within 5 minutes he called back.
Hey, Dad, sorry for troubling you. Were you busy? Well, it took a while to get from the hospital room to the lobby. Hospital room? Oh, actually, I've been in the hospital for about a week now, son. What?
Sir, are you okay?
It's nothing serious. I slipped on the stairs while I was at work one day, and I heavily bruised my right leg and hip. Oh, why didn't you tell us? I didn't want to worry you. Mom never said a word about that. I'm sure Michiko is always so busy anyway.
No, sir, she's watching Korean drama shows in my house, is what I wanted to blurt out, but there might have been some other reason I was oblivious to, so I'll keep quiet for now.
So, did you have something to tell me, or... but it doesn't matter right now. I'm gonna visit you tomorrow, so I'll tell you then.
After hanging up the phone, Yoshiki sighed loudly. The next day, he and I went to visit his father at the hospital.
I'm really sorry, you two. Oh, no worries. More importantly, though, are you really okay? Yes, I'm fine, son. I'm scheduled to be discharged the day after tomorrow, after all. So, what was that phone call from yesterday about? Yes. So, actually...
Yoshiki told his father, basically word for word, what I told him about his mother bullying me so much up until now.
Is that true?
Yes, sir, unfortunately.
She said she started working part-time to pay for my medical expenses. So I assumed that was why it would be difficult for her to visit me.
But she doesn't have a part-time job, sir. She's at my house watching drama shows all day as I work. She's probably paying our house a visit as we speak today, too. Actually, there have been a few phone calls from her for a while now.
Yuka, darling, mind if I pick up the phone next time she calls?
Yes, of course, sir.
Then let's go down to the courtyard. I want to get some fresh air anyhow.
Saying this, my father-in-law got himself into his wheelchair for Yoshiki to push all the way down to the beautiful courtyard. A few minutes later, his wife called me again, and this time I answered, leaving the phone on speaker. Hello?
Hey, if you're at home, answer the goddamn door.
Why would you think I'm at home, ma'am? Today's the weekend, you know?
The poor can't freaking afford any weekend.
How dare you, woman?
Honey? But why are you on Yuka's phone?
She came to visit me in the hospital, unlike someone we won't talk about.
What does that have to do with anything? What's the point of visiting you? I'm not a doctor or anything. And moreover, the hospital is a scary place to be, considering you could catch something nasty.
Huh. Well, no matter, I'll be back the day after tomorrow.
Really? Well, just as well. If you don't return to work soon, it'll be a blow to your salary and household budget.
Anyway, do not go to Yoshiki's house. Yuka is working too.
That child is just lazing around the house, honey.
Who, pray tell, is the one lazing around, huh? If you get any closer to Yoshiki's house, we'll have a divorce on our hands.
Divorce? But I'm a full-time housewife.
I don't care. You ought to reflect on your actions.
Saying that, my father-in-law hung up the phone.
This is the first time I'd seen you so angry, Dad.
I'm sorry for my unsightly behavior. Let's go back inside for now.
After returning him to his bed, we enjoyed about 20 minutes of pleasant conversation before leaving him about his day. As we left the hospital room, the doctor called out to us.
Are you the family of Mr. Takeo Nakamura?
Yes, we are.
Thank goodness we've been having trouble getting in touch with his wife. We were at a loss as to what to do. She didn't even give us her son's contact information either.
According to the doctor, it would be difficult for Mr. Nakamura to walk the way he used to. He could still get into a wheelchair on his own and walk slowly, but given his age, we were told that a full recovery was unlikely. It was important to continue his rehabilitation so that his condition wouldn't worsen. He said he would be discharged the day after tomorrow. If we didn't know about how dire his condition was, I wonder if he was planning to work hard on rehabilitation on his own.
He's always been stubborn. No, that's not the right word. He didn't want to cause other people trouble, especially those he loves. I'm thinking that maybe I should go back home for a while. From the looks of things, it seems like Mom won't do anything to help him.
Good idea, and I'll go too. Since I work from home, I can deal with it right away if anything happens. So upon the discharging of Mr. Nakamura from the hospital, we moved to his parents' house.
Oh, can't even pay the rent anymore?
No, this is for Dad's sake. He has to go to rehabilitation regularly, and I'm worried about him being left alone with you.
Rehab? Is he seriously in such bad shape?
Afraid so. It might be difficult from now on if I don't have a wheelchair.
What? But what about your work?
I plan to use up my paid leave days and then retire.
But we still have a mortgage to pay.
That'll be taken care of with my severance pay coming soon.
And how am I going to live from now on?
There are a number of insurances and support from the government, although we may not be able to live as we used to.
This is freaking ridiculous. An elderly vegetable and an unemployed wife? There are no decent people in my house except Yoshiki. Yuka, you are planning to live here for free?
There are guests, of course they are.
What are you saying? Old man who can't make a living, eh? Anyway, you have to pay for everything to live in this house.
I set up a computer in Yoshiki's room, and I started a life of working from home while taking care of my father-in-law. And of course, Mrs. Bitchface is making me suffer.
Yuka, is lunch ready yet?
I'm working now, ma'am, so you'll have to make your lunch. I don't need any for myself.
Huh? Hurry along and make me something now. You'll probably make some for Takio too, right?
Wasn't it you who said that it is the wife's job to make the food for her husband?
If there's a young wife in the family, she ought to make food for the entire family. Telling the mother-in-law to do it proves you're a failure as a wife.
I didn't care about Mrs. Nakamura's food, but I couldn't stand by without giving her husband something. He refrained from asking me to make him something, claiming he would make do somehow. But now he needs balanced meals throughout the day. Guess I have no choice but to make something. I shoveled the entirety of the finished lunch into my mouth within 5 minutes, cleaned up, and returned to work. I really can't feel like I had a lunch break at all. I got up early in the morning to prepare breakfast and clean the house before I had to start with work, and prepare dinner as soon as work was finished for the day. Days like this continued, and I was exhausted. On Saturdays, Yoshiki was so considerate and gave me a day off. His mother was having lunch with the housewives in the neighborhood and thus wasn't in the house, so it was easy to go out. I could finally buy the clothes and shoes I wanted. Man, this feels good. What else? Yeah, there was a graphic design exhibition at a hotel nearby. I think it was on until today, so I guess I better hurry over to go and see it. The hotel lobby was overflowing with people. I wonder, are they having an event? Men and women in their 40s and 50s came out of the hotel restaurant. A matchmaking party. I was just looking around the happy-looking faces when a familiar one caught my eye. That can't be. Mrs. Nakamura? She was cocooned in a nice outfit and exited the hotel with a man, arm in arm, looking like she was having fun.
What the hell? The frick is she being so smug about? This is unbelievable!
She's neglecting her responsibility of caring for her husband and going gallivanting? So she plans on replacing Yoshiki's father just because the household income's gone down? The sheer fury that bubbled within me was cataclysmic. I'm getting my ass home, holy! Right when I got home, I talked to Yoshiki about what I saw.
Is that true? Can a married person attend?
It had a system of self-reporting, so to speak, so it seems like people can lie about being single. It has to be a shock that your mother is looking for another husband.
No. Ever since she never visited Dad in the hospital, I've only ever felt anger and disdain towards Mom. Well, she's always been free-spirited and selfish, but I didn't think it was this far gone.
I see. I wonder what your father's thinking.
Actually, he says he's been thinking about getting a divorce too.
I see. Then that might be for the better, because I have an idea. And so, our war against injustice began. From that day on, Mrs. Nakamura started going out more and more often, occasionally even coming home the next morning. It was convenient for me, and more importantly, it was less time for her to be annoying, so life for me was easier. Today, she told me another obvious lie that she was going out to lunch with the ladies and left. On days like this, she usually came home in the evening. Awesome, time to initiate Project D-Day. I called a certain number and waited for Mrs. Nakamura to come home. In the evening, she came home around the time I'd predicted. Welcome home, Mrs. Nakamura.
What's with you? Disgusting.
Oh, nothing. Oh, actually, we have a guest.
Who is it? Wait, what? Mrs. Nakamura? And Mrs. Nakamura?
Yes, these guests were none other than Mrs. Nakamura's mother-in-law and sister-in-law. In other words, Yoshiki's paternal grandmother and aunt. Grandma Nakamura is so powerful, you wouldn't believe she's actually 77 years old. Rumor has it, she still goes to the gym. An eye for an eye, a mother-in-law for a mother-in-law. I'm a genius.
If you were coming, you could have told me beforehand.
So, I hear you seem to be gallivanting around lately. Abandoning my son in the process, eh?
No, Mrs. Nakamura, it's just my way of relaxing, you see? And we have a young wife at home, and she's keeping a close eye on him for me. What use is it for you to not take care of the family, work for income, or do any housework? Mrs. Nakamura, you're mistaken.
It's the responsibility of the mother-in-law to educate the wife. A very wise woman once said, I guess. Yes, and that very wise woman was your son's wife, ma'am.
You little. I've been educated too much at this point. 10 goddamn years. I spent at my in-laws' house getting educated by his family.
Apparently, she and her husband had left her in-laws' home when they bought a house, but it seems that they had a very hard time until then. She's kind to us grandchildren, though. I guess that means I didn't give her a proper education. I'm so sorry, Yuka, darling. No problem, ma'am.
Anyway, Mom and I will be keeping a close watch on her here, so don't you worry.
Thank you, ma'am.
What? This house is too small for 6 people to live in, and...
Oh, we will be leaving, ma'am. Don't worry. We already have our own house, after all. Please do your absolute best for the next 3 years. 3 years, sweetie. It's like middle school all over again. Time will fly by like a bullet. These 3 years have a definite reason, by the way, but Mrs. Nakamura, who was in a panicked frenzy, didn't suspect anything and just fell silent and obedient. Well then, take care! Of course, we periodically visited Mr. Nakamura regularly at the house to see how he was faring. My mother-in-law looked older and thinner every time I saw her thereafter, even when she went out shopping. Grandma Nakamura, or her eldest daughter, always accompanied her so that she wouldn't run away. And a few months before the promised 3 years were coming to an end, we visited the house once again.
It's been almost 3 years since my mother and sister came.
Oh, that's right. I shall miss them. We can't live together anymore.
You're the one who won't be able to live with me anymore.
Huh?
I'm divorcing you.
What? I was devoted to you up until now, wasn't I?
Mrs. Nakamura, what are these photos then? I spread out some photos on the table. They were photos of her having an affair before Grandma Nakamura and company came over.
What is this?
Your behavior was suspicious, so I asked a detective to cover some evidence, you see? I wonder what this is about.
I'll charge you alimony. On my word, I will.
But it's past the statute of limitations.
Past the statute of limitations? You think we didn't know that existed? Do you still have no idea why you were assigned 3 years of re-education?
Don't tell me.
Well, Mr. Nakamura could have divorced you immediately 3 years ago, but that would not have been enough for us, so to speak. After discussing it with the whole family, we decided to have you continue your re-education until the very last minute. Anyway, it's not past the statute of limitations yet.
But I'm a full-time housewife.
Why don't you get your new sweetheart to pay?
Yes, that's right. I'm sure Mr. Wataru would be waiting for me.
So she called him in a panic, but it seemed like he had blocked all her calls. Well, I mean, duh.
No way. Oh, I know. No matter what kind of divorce it is, there should be some division of assets.
What a selfish bitch.
I have almost no money. I've paid back all kinds of loans over the years, and my medical expenses are still pretty expensive, especially since I'm trying out the latest medical treatments. In fact, Yuka's been taking care of any shortfalls Dad's been experiencing. She brought in 350,000 yen a month for the past 36 months.
350,000 yen? There's no way this bitch can make that much.
Despite my humble background, ma'am, I'm a famous graphic designer. The Moniclo clothes that you're currently wearing are a collaboration with my designs, you see?
I've told you many times, Mom, Yuka is also a working woman.
I didn't think she was making that much, see? You should have said that from the beginning.
I didn't tell you anything because I thought you'd just gloss it over like it was bullshit. And I think I was right.
Well, if that's the case, then I'm so relieved.
What are you saying? You're not family anymore. Get out. Or would you rather come live with us? You'd be a stranger to us, but you'd be welcome.
No, please, anything but.
And so, she was kicked out by Grandma Nakamura and left the house never to return. After that, we renovated the house and of course we got new locks and keys made. We additionally installed a few security measures, so even if she tried to break in an attempt to exploit Mr. Nakamura's condition, she would be reported. The war is won, everyone! Later on, I went to the Metropolitan Hotel. I'm so glad that they reopened the graphic exhibition from 3 years ago. I was so shocked with what happened that time that I had completely forgotten all about it. Today, too, it was crowded with many people. Is there another matchmaking party? Wait, hold on. There was a woman who was turned away at the entrance to the restaurant. Is that Mrs. Nakamura? She looked like she really wanted to enter the venue, but her clothes and hair were messy and she could be easily deemed unfit and inappropriate to be at a matchmaking venue. Such a relentless witch, even begging to live happily with another person's money? Well, like hell I care, we're not family anymore. After that, she was apprehended by security guards, but I ignored her and enjoyed the exhibition to the fullest.